wind, and temperatures that won't be as warm as yesterday, but these are still warmer than normal. So I think, the heavy winter coat may be overdoing it, but give them something waterproof. It'll be blustery. Ride home, 43 degrees, still windy out there. Current temperatures gone are the 60s, but it's close. Still 59 at Gary, 53 Chicago Heights, 52 at the lakefront, but we've dropped from a high of 60 back at midnight to 44 at O'Hare. It's 42 at Woodstock, and yep, the winds are strong. In some cases, gusting to more than 40 miles per hour, such as what we're seeing at O'Hare, and also Valparaiso leading the pack there with a 48-mile-an-hour wind. All right, Gabby, it's kind of a white-knuckle ride out there between wet pavement and gusty winds. What have we got?
I know, I was just going to say, Mike, if you're not watching the roads to make sure that there's no flooding in your area, especially on those kind of less traveled streets, maybe in your neighborhood, some low-standing or high-standing water, but watch those high-profile vehicles around you as well. Make sure your hands are at 10 and 2 today because, yeah, that wind is whipping, even in the city when you're blocked by some of these big skyscrapers. Let's talk about what's going on around our city, though, right now. We have two crashes to report. One is on the northbound side of I-57 near 107th Street. It's a crash over in the right lane. Crews are there. And then also westbound on the Eisenhower near Addison Road, there's a crash that's on the left shoulder. So luckily both these crashes aren't blocking any lanes technically, but still just be aware of some flashing lights around those areas. We did have some major trouble on Union Pacific West earlier. All train movement was halted at College Avenue due to a vehicle stuck on the tracks. That has finally been cleared within the last 20 minutes, but still expect maybe them to have to catch up those inbound and outbound trains. But they're back up and moving and operating as scheduled. To keep you updated on some of these reports of high standing water, right now we're not seeing too much, but as people wake up, they'll report a little bit more. Yeah. Well, the record rain obviously left its mark, and many of you are seeing plenty of ponding water in the area still, so please be careful.
Yeah, some places had it even worse as they're still recovering from some of the strong storms last night. Roseanne has more on how it's looking so far for this Friday morning commute.
Well, let's start with the Dan Ryan. You already showed some pictures. It's totally clear now. All the water has receded. But all of that rain yesterday and last night really created some major headaches for drivers. And one place especially hard hit, Cicero Avenue. Take a look at the flooding at Cicero and 31st Street. Cars creating waves as some drivers plowed ahead through deep standing water. Several cars became completely stuck. They needed to be pushed or towed out of the way. In Chicago at Cicero Avenue near 55th Street, it was the heavy wind causing problems, taking down a traffic light which landed right on top of a car that was moving at the time. But fortunately, we're told nobody was seriously hurt in that incident, but the windshield was cracked. Other problems in the area included a roof collapse in a vacant building, a flooded loading dock. I mean, for people driving on flooded Cicero Avenue, let's just say it's a night they'll remember.
My car just got stuck. Me and my friends had to pull it out the water. Thankfully, my car still drives, so I ain't even really tripping. Look, record his shoes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Look at our shoes.
Hey, we helped them out.
Cicero, what are we doing?
Yeah, that was Cicero. And this is the Dan Ryan this morning. Cars are sailing. The standing water receded here this morning. But as you mentioned, Gabriella, there is ponding all over the place. A lot of areas to look out for this morning. Roseanne Tejas, Fox Chicago.
Yeah, you just don't know. And right now it might seem like, you're kind of running into some surprises because things like Roseanne said might have receded, but
sure.
You never know what's around the corner, people, so be careful.
Definitely still dangerous this morning. All right, time is now 5:03 this morning. Some tensions rise in Portland, Oregon, after officials say that 2 people were shot during an incident with federal immigration agents. The Department of Homeland Security says Customs and Borders Protection agents were trying to stop a vehicle that had people inside with alleged ties to a Venezuelan gang. DHS says that the driver of that vehicle tried to run over law enforcement, eventually leading to an agent firing off a weapon in self-defense. The car escaped from the scene. Portland police confirmed that they received reports of a man needing medical help. When officers arrived, they found a man and a woman with gunshot wounds.
Chicago leaders and residents are now voicing their concerns. In Pilsen, Dozens of people and elected officials gathered for a hearing with the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. There's concerns the Chicago Police Department's practices may conflict with the city's Welcoming City ordinance. People were calling out the police department for what they say has been a pattern of them assisting ICE agents and failing to protect Chicago residents. Under that ordinance, police are prohibited from helping federal agents with immigration enforcement. Some residents had a message for the commission.
I thought that I was going to tell you about my experiences behind the discount mall on October 23rd and how I personally witnessed ICE and CBD collaborate. But I'm going to throw that away because some of you commissioners should be ashamed of yourselves. You, as a public servant, can't handle a cuss word or can't handle someone going slightly over time, then get the out of your seat.
All right, now community members are demanding an independent investigation into CPD's involvement with ICE.
Well, Congresswoman Robin Kelly continues her criticism of Kristi Noem as she learned more details about the death of a woman in Minneapolis. She appeared on Chicago Live on Thursday, where she called into question the tactics of immigration officers involved in Renee Good's death. She's also placing the blame squarely at the feet of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
She should not be the Secretary of Homeland Security. She is not obviously competent. She's a liar, and people are dying, and she's throwing gasoline on cities and then lighting the fire. And it seems like she is getting her kick out of it, that she feels very, powerful and empowered. But she has to remember she works for the people.
And Kelly says she is working on getting co-sponsors and that the articles of impeachment against Kristi Noem will be filed as early as today. And just a reminder, you can watch that full interview on Fox Local and catch more stories just like it every weekday afternoon on Chicago Live, streaming from 1 until 4 p.m. Well, tensions continue to grow in Minneapolis and all over the country.
This comes after an immigration and customs enforcement officer shot and killed a 37-year-old mother of 3 this week. Connor Hansen is in Minneapolis with the latest. Good morning.
Good morning, Gabriella. And we saw protests last night, including here in the neighborhood where that shooting happened. But just about an hour ago this morning, while only a couple people were standing around, a Minneapolis police SWAT team pulled up and cleared a bunch of the makeshift barricades and debris that were set up, actually blocking the street, one of the main thoroughfares through the city. They now have this area all cordoned off. You can see the caution tape behind me. So far, we haven't seen any new protesters show up at the area.
That woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation.
As the FBI continues its investigation, Vice President J.D. Vance says 37-year-old Renee Good's death is a tragedy of her own making, echoing the Department of Homeland Security, saying the ICE agent who shot and killed her Wednesday in Minneapolis did so out of self-defense. This comes after federal officials accuse Good of trying to slam her car into the officer.
That very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg.
But some local leaders in Minnesota say they don't fully buy the federal reports and are urging the thousands of ICE officers in the state to leave.
I will let those that want to push out false narratives, to slander or defame Renee Good, Minnesotans will tell her life story.
Vigils and calls for action are picking up steam nationwide.
Say her name! Renee Good!
Just one day after the incident in Minneapolis, the FBI was investigating another shooting Thursday in Portland, Oregon, where 2 people were injured. DHS says a Border Patrol agent also fired in self-defense after an alleged gang member tried to run them over before fleeing the scene.
And meanwhile, here in Minnesota, Governor Walz is calling for today to be a day of unity. He's asking people to do a moment of silence later this morning. Brian, Gabriella.
All right, thanks so much for your time this morning, Connor.
New surveillance video shows Chicago public school teacher Linda Brown leaving her car and walking away before she disappeared. That's according to her family. She's been missing since Saturday afternoon. Her husband says her car, a blue Honda Civic, was found Wednesday, but police are not saying where it was found. Her family tells Fox Chicago she was seen in surveillance video walking alone over a bridge to the lakefront around 3 a.m. Saturday morning. Her family says they plan to start a search party along the lakefront later this morning. University of Illinois system president announces his retirement. Tim Killeen is set to retire when his contract ends next summer. He has held his position since 2015 and is one of the system's longest-serving presidents. He calls the job the greatest honor of his professional life. U of I's board will start searching for his replacement in the coming weeks.
Well, the Chicago Bulls had to postpone their game against the Miami Heat last night. The weather outside caused some both humid and wet conditions inside the United Center. You can see crew members trying to mop up the floor. The NBA says the new date for the game will be announced at a later date. Well, coming up on Good Day, as we check in with Mike this morning. Mike, we were just seeing some of that condensation at the UC last night. Yeah, we don't usually see that, I feel like, especially this time of year.
I know. To me, there's got to be something more to the story because
right? Is there like a leak or something? Like that? I didn't see the video up close, but
they tried for a couple of hours to kind of mop the floor and keep it dry, and they just couldn't get it. I wonder whether it's the fact that they put that floor over the ice.
I know that's what I was thinking.
I just wonder whether there's something there.
Maybe the warmer weather too.
Yeah. All right, the warmth that set a record high a few hours ago for today is gone, and now we're talking about winter, and some of that wintry weather is going to impact the Bears-Packers game, but it is not going to be a snow bowl tomorrow night at Soldier Field. There's a chance for some light snow around kickoff time. Now I really think the snow is gone. Windy and colder, though. Temperatures dropping to the upper 20s by the time that game is over, but skies will be partly to mostly cloudy. And again, not expecting much snowfall, particularly during the game. Here's where we are now. It's dropped to 43 at O'Hare after a high of 60, so that's a 17-degree drop. 41 at Woodstock, 43 at Morris. Still warmer in northwest Indiana. The cold front right about there. 55 at Maryville, 58 degrees in Valparaiso. Keep in mind, behind this cold front, all of these temperatures are still way above the normal high for this time of year. But wow, this is impressive. Look at that wind gust at O'Hare. 55 miles per hour. A severe thunderstorm has winds of 58 miles per hour. So there are some winds this morning that could be doing some damage to trees and blowing things around on your property. So batten down the hatches here, waiting to see whether the Weather Service pulls the trigger and issues a wind advisory. There's a chance for a light rain shower. You see this little light stuff coming out of eastern Iowa, a few hours away. Nothing like what we had yesterday during those deluge downpours. But there you see a little quick hit of some light rain here later this morning. And then, even though it'll be windy, temperatures will be in the 40s this afternoon, and I think we'll see a decent amount of sunshine, so you'll get buffeted, but at least it won't be that cold, and you'll see a little bit of sunshine, which will help dry things out a little bit. Right, Gabriella?
Thank you, Mike.
Well, coming up this morning, outrage in Portland after 2 people were shot by a Border Patrol agent.
We'll have the latest on those details of the incident after the break.
Well, time is now 5:12 this morning. Before we head to break, we want to show off some of those photos we got from viewers on this Orange Friday. We're going to have much more throughout the morning. Bears taking on the Packers this weekend. That was a cute little kid thing.
An epic showdown at Soldier Field.
Here's a look at our top stories. 2 people were shot in Portland, Oregon during an incident with federal immigration agents yesterday. We're going to have more on this in just a little bit.
Well, plenty of drivers had to deal with some flooding last night. This is just one example. It's at Cicero Avenue and 31st in Cicero. Several cars were stuck in high water and needed to be pushed out or even towed. Different streets across both Chicago and the suburbs also had flooded streets last night.
Yikes. The Bulls postponed their game with the Miami Heat due to condensation on the basketball court. The weather outside caused humid and wet conditions inside the building. Now the NBA says the new date for the game will be announced at a later date. All right, to some national news. There has been another shooting involving federal immigration enforcement, this time in Oregon.
2 people were shot after allegedly trying to ram their car into agents. Our Doug Luzader joins us live from Washington this morning. So, Doug, what is Homeland Security saying about this latest incident?
Good morning. Well, we've got, both of these incidents that are getting a lot of attention now. The one in Minneapolis, of course, and this latest incident yesterday in Portland. U.S. Border Patrol agents were apparently pulling over a vehicle. Inside was a suspected illegal immigrant and gang member, as well as an associate. They attempted to pull this vehicle over, and the vehicle allegedly sped off, and the occupants of the vehicle allegedly tried to use the vehicle as a ram against the agents. One agent opened fire, striking both of the individuals inside, both of whom remain hospitalized as far as we know. But the severity of the injuries and their condition right now is still unknown. And of course, as that investigation plays out, we have the ongoing investigation in Minneapolis after that 37-year-old woman was killed on Wednesday, also accused of using her vehicle against agents. Although there's been a big debate over that, of course, and there have been protests still in Minneapolis, and we've seen protests break out in Portland overnight as well.
Doug, back over to Oregon. How has Portland's mayor responded to this incident?
Well, officials there, don't cooperate with immigration enforcement anyway. So there's a lot of resistance, as there is in Minneapolis, over these operations to begin with.
And Doug, we've now seen these kind of back-to-back incidents in both Minneapolis and now Portland involving ICE and Border Patrol agents. Do you think we could see any legal action against ICE or lawmakers trying to step in going forward?
Well, they're continuing their operations. There's no indication that ICE or Border Patrol is going to let up here. As far as congressional action here, there was some talk about this becoming possibly part of the ongoing debate about government funding, because we do have a potential government shutdown coming up at the end of the month. There is not a whole lot of appetite among congressional leaders, particularly among Democratic congressional leaders, about having another government shutdown. But there are certainly some that are going to be pushing to go after DHS funding over this.
All right, Doug Luzader, thank you for a report. We'll check in with you a little later.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of Congress, the House passes a bill to extend Obamacare subsidies for the next 3 years. The bill also helps lower health care premiums that just spiked for millions of Americans on January 1st. The bill was forced to a vote after a group of Republicans signed on to what is called a discharge petition. It unlocks debate and bypasses House Speaker Mike Johnson's objections. The bill now heads to the Senate.
The U.S. Supreme Court will start issuing rulings for the new year beginning today. Among the items on the agenda could be tariffs. The justices could reveal their ruling on whether the president has authority to impose tariffs under an emergency law that was passed nearly 50 years ago. Legal and trade analysts say if the court rules he doesn't have the power, the U.S. may be forced to refund more than $133.5 billion in tariffs to importers.
The White House is moving forward in the process to renovate the East Wing. Officials shared their official plans for the project with the National Capital Planning Commission. They say the purpose of the construction is to help establish a permanent event space on the White House grounds. An official vote to approve the plan is expected in the spring.
The start of tax season is set to begin on January 26. This is when people can start filing their 2025 taxes. Some tax experts say the filing process could face delays in 2026 after tens of thousands of IRS workers were laid off last year. The average tax return in 2025 was about $3,167. Acting IRS Commissioner Scott Bassett says it will likely increase this year because of provisions enacted in last summer's tax and spending package.
I feel like tax season is when I start to think about spring weather, right?
That's kind of true.
Yeah,
I
but
like that
it's
thought.
kind of feeling like that outside this morning.
Feels like summer.
Yeah.
See, I'm always thinking of taxes, but that's just me. All right, we have very strong winds out there and temperatures that are falling. In fact, across our viewing area, there's a 20-degree difference. Take a look at Benton Harbor. It's 60 degrees in Benton Harbor, Michigan on January 9th, and it's 40 degrees at DeKalb. Everywhere else, it's in between. 49 degrees at Midway, 43 at O'Hare, still 50-something in northwest Indiana. But you can tell there's a cold front coming through. But every single temperature here is still way above the normal high. And this time of morning, this time of year, temperatures are usually close to 20 degrees. So when you move a cold front through here in January, and you're talking about temperatures that are going to be staying in the 40s, that's a remarkable cold front, okay? 55-mile-an-hour wind gusts, though, at O'Hare. That's going to be no fun for planes taking off and especially landing there. There's no wind advisory in effect for Chicagoland, but you see a lot of winds gusting to 45 plus right now. Gradually, this morning, the winds are going to be dying down. In fact, I think the next couple of hours we'll probably see the strongest winds. Rainfall, 192 at O'Hare. That set a record yesterday, and it is the third wettest calendar day in January history in Chicago. But it was one of the spots that picked up the heavy rain. Many others didn't get that much. Aurora, half inch, about 9/10 of an inch at West Chicago. Waukegan and Valparaiso, no big deal with the rainfall, no flooding there. There's a chance for a little bit of light rain coming through here later this morning, a quick hit, nothing like what we had last night. And then skies are actually going to clear out. I think we'll see a decent amount of afternoon sun. It'll still be blustery, but not as windy as what we have out there right now. With temperatures in the 40s, really won't be that bad of an afternoon. But there's another storm system on the way. This one has more cold air with which to play, which means tomorrow, especially early in the day, we're going to see some snow, maybe mixing with a little bit of rain here and there. I'm not expecting a big accumulation. Our model is showing kind of the departure of the snow just in time for the Bears kickoff tomorrow evening, a little after 7 o'clock. Gabriella, let's talk traffic. Hopefully these lakes that were once highways have receded.
Honestly, Mike, it seems like it, because by now I'd be seeing a lot more reports. People are up and running and reporting more incidents and high standing water around our area. So it looks like we're somewhat in the clear. That being said, please still be careful, because you don't know what's going to happen in your neighborhood. And if so, make sure you're reporting that high standing water to your local enforcement. Mike mentioned some of our airport delays or possible airport delays, and I know Skyfox is going to be down this morning because of these high winds we're seeing. Right now, within the last 24 hours at O'Hare, we've seen 44 delays and just 1 cancellation, and just 3 delays and no cancellations at Chicago Midway Airport, even with all of the rain that we saw last night. So that's the good news. I'll keep an eye on this, but doesn't look like there is any possibility for a ground stop anytime soon. Again, I'll keep you updated on traffic here in a little bit.
Well, coming up, a very popular musician is coming to Soldier Field.
We'll let you know who it is right after this break.
Well, Bruno Mars is coming to Chicago for his first tour in almost a decade. He just announced the Romantic Tour in support of his fourth studio album of the same title. I love that album with Anderson .Paak.
Me too.
Mars will perform at Soldier Field on May the 16th. He's bringing several other R&B stars to the stage, including Victoria Monet, Leon Thomas, Ray, and Anderson .Paak. Tickets go on sale next Thursday. Our Bears fans coming together to celebrate head coach Ben Johnson by participating in a look-alike contest.
We are waiting for this. Photojournalist Jacob Karb stepped by to check it out.
Bears, 1, 2, 3.
Such a fun, family-friendly event at the Wintrust Sports Complex in Bedford Park, our Coach Johnson look-alike contest. It's a free event, wonderful prizes, so much excitement surrounding our favorite football team in town. We want to do something really community-oriented, fun, family-friendly, and see who can get the most creative with their Coach Johnson look-alike for the good, better, and best prizes. Going to a game, it's really not attainable for most people these days with the prices, especially with the economy. So we wanted to see what we could do to help with that. So the winners, they could put it towards the game and create a memory that'll last a lifetime. And when you think about it, people are still dressing like Coach Ditka all these years later. So I'm thinking, all right, we're still doing that, and now we have Coach Johnson. And once Coach Johnson ripped his shirt off in the locker room in Philly on Black Friday, forget it. It was fantastic. Everyone had so much fun with that, and we were hopeful that the community would react to it. We greenlit the whole promotion 3 to 4 weeks, and here we are today.
Oh, they did a good job there.
They did. Jacob's one of the best.
They never had a Dick Duran look-alike contest to the best of my knowledge.
We want to forget that era.
No Eberflus.
I don't know.
Even though somebody with the beard, I can see the Eberflus thing kind of.
Well, we talked about this before. Our own Ed Flynn, who is on our drone team, he looks exactly like Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
He would win that contest. So much rain fell over a short period of time last night, and it was remarkable and unusual for any time of year, but particularly in January. There's still a little bit of rain, nothing like what we had last night. Coming out of eastern Iowa, this is not a big deal. In fact, why don't I zoom in here and let's take a look at some of these light rain showers out here. And I'll switch over here to the Davenport, the Quad Cities radar, and you can see a few sprinkles out there. This is still a couple hours away from moving through Chicagoland, but the main story currently is how strong these winds are. We're looking at O'Hare wind gust that's almost as strong as a severe thunderstorm. A severe thunderstorm is 58 miles per hour, and it's a 55-mile-an-hour wind. The Weather Service a little bit reluctant to pull the trigger on a wind advisory. I think that's because they do expect these winds to gradually subside here over the next couple of hours. Today, we have clouds and maybe a brief morning shower. It's going to stay windy all day long. 60 happened. That was our record-tying high back at midnight. Temperatures are falling into the 40s, and that's where we'll be this afternoon under partly cloudy skies. Tonight, partly cloudy, becoming mostly cloudy late with a low of 32 degrees. Tomorrow, that's when we actually have a little taste of winter. I think there's going to be snow falling, and it will have a difficult time sticking. The ground has been warm, and temperatures are kind of marginal. I certainly don't see a big snowstorm, but there may be enough to whiten the ground. I think the snow's out of here in time for the Bears game. Colder day Sunday, milder Monday and Tuesday, and then another shot for some rain changing the snow Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Thank you, Mike.
All right, time now 5:30. Make sure to stick around.
We have more news on the way.
Has your business been sacked with
Right now, a good day. An investigation is underway after 2 people were shot during an incident in Oregon involving Border Patrol agents.
The Bulls postponed last night's game against the Miami Heat due to condensation on the basketball courts.
And plenty of drivers had to deal with flooded streets last night. Roseanne Tellez will have more on just a little bit. Mike.
All right, the wind is the main story this morning. We have seen winds in excess of 50 miles per hour at times. The winds will be gradually dying down today, and just a slight chance of a brief shower this morning. Tomorrow, though, there could be a frozen precip coming down. More on that in a little bit. But right now, a nightmare getting around the city last night. Gabriella, how are we looking this morning?
Mike, things are looking a little bit better. And actually, I do have 2 new reports of places that may be flooded, some intersections. One is over, I would call it Douglas Park and Medical District to Western Avenue and 14th Street. There are some CTA buses that are going to be rerouted due to this. And also over just a little bit more west of this, southwest of this, Pulaski and Ogden Avenue. There's also reports of flooding there. CTA bus number 53 is the only bus that will be temporarily rerouted in both directions, so keep that in mind. If any more reports come about, I'll let you know. But again, our drive times are looking okay coming into the city. Our expressways, we're not reporting any flooding as of right now. And our flights are looking all right, even with this really high wind we're seeing. So that record rain obviously left its mark. And many of you may be seeing ponding in the Chicago area.
And in some places had it even worse. Roseanne has more this morning from just outside the Dan Ryan.
Well, all that rain we got meant a lot of water on the roadways and a lot of headaches for drivers, especially hard hit Cicero Avenue. Take a look here at the flooding at Cicero and 31st Street. Cars creating waves as some drivers plowed ahead through deep standing water. Several cars became completely stuck and needed to be pushed or towed. In Chicago at Cicero Avenue near 55th Street, it was the heavy wind causing problems. It took down a traffic light that landed right on a car that was moving at the time, but fortunately, we're told no one was seriously hurt. The windshield was cracked. Other problems in the area included a roof collapse at a vacant building and a flooded loading dock. For people driving on flooded Cicero Avenue, though, well, let's just say it's a night they'll remember.
My car just got stuck. Me and my friends had to pull out the water. Thankfully, my car still drives, so I ain't even really tripping. Look, record his shoes. That's crazy. Yeah. Look at our shoes. Hey, we hope the Cicero, what are we doing?
Now, overnight standing water on the Dan Ryan Expressway has completely receded, but you can still watch out for ponding all over the area, especially on parts of Lakeshore Drive. Roseanne Tellez, Fox Chicago.
Well, tensions rise in Portland, Oregon, after officials say that 2 people were shot during an incident with federal immigration agents. The Department of Homeland Security says Customs and Border Protection agents were trying to stop a vehicle that had people inside with alleged ties to a Venezuelan gang. DHS says that the driver of the vehicle tried to run over law enforcement, eventually leading to an agent firing a weapon in self-defense. The car escaped from the scene. Portland police later confirmed that they received reports of a man needing medical help. When officers arrived, they found a man and a woman with gunshot wounds.
As outrage builds nationwide over the incidents in Minneapolis and Portland, Chicago leaders and residents are voicing their concerns. In Pilsen, a lively crowd of people and elected officials gathered for a hearing with the Community Commission for Public Safety and Accountability. There's concerns the Chicago Police Department's practices may conflict with the city's Welcoming City ordinance. People were calling out the department for what they say has been a pattern of them assisting ICE agents and failing to protect Chicago residents. Under that ordinance, police are prohibited from helping federal agents with immigration enforcement. Some residents had a strong message for the commission.
I thought that I was going to tell you about my experiences behind the discount mall on October 23rd and how I personally witnessed ICE and CBD collaborate. But I'm going to throw that away because some of you commissioners should be ashamed of yourselves. You, as a public servant, can't handle a cuss word or can't handle someone going slightly over time, then get the out of your seat.
As I said, seemed to be a heated meeting. Community members are demanding an independent investigation into CPD's involvement with ICE.
Well, Congresswoman Robin Kelly continues her criticism of Kristi Noem as she learns more details about the death of the woman in Minneapolis. She appeared on Chicago Live Thursday, where she called into question the tactics of immigration officers who were involved in Renee Good's death. She's also placing the blame squarely at the feet of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
She should not be the Secretary of Homeland Security. She is not obviously competent. She's a liar, and people are dying, and she's throwing gasoline on cities and then lighting the fire. And it seems like she is getting her kick out of it, that she feels very, powerful and empowered. But she has to remember she works for the people.
Kelly says she is working on getting co-sponsors and that the articles of impeachment against Noem will be filed as early as today. And as a reminder, you can watch that full interview on Fox Local and catch more stories just like that one weekday afternoons on Chicago Live, streaming from 1 until 4 p.m.
New surveillance video shows Chicago public school teacher Linda Brown leaving her car and walking away before she disappeared. That's according to her family. She's been missing since Saturday afternoon. Her husband says her car, a blue Honda Civic, was found Wednesday, but police are not saying where it was found. Her family tells Fox Chicago she was seen in surveillance video walking alone over a bridge to the lakefront around 3 a.m. Saturday morning. Her family says they plan to start a search party along the lakefront later on this morning. University of Illinois system president announces his retirement. Tim Killeen is set to retire when his contract ends next summer. He has held his position since 2015 and is one of the system's longest-serving presidents. He calls the job the greatest honor of his professional life. U of I's board will start searching for his replacement in the coming weeks.
Well, the Chicago Bulls had to postpone their game last night against the Miami Heat. The weather outside caused both humid and wet conditions inside the United Center. You can see some crew members trying to mop up the floor. The NBA says that the new date for the game will be announced at a later date. But tomorrow is the day, marking the latest chapter in the NFL's oldest rivalry between the Bears and Packers. I just can't wait till tomorrow.
Mike, this one should be a good one. All eyes are going to be on that TV screen and right here on Fox.
Hey, the previous two meetings were exciting games, came down to the end. They were nail biters. What else is new with the Bears, right? Well, despite the rich history between these two teams, this is only their third ever playoff meeting. And it comes after two instant classics between the teams in the span of only 3 weeks. Well, here's what head coach Ben Johnson and some of the players have to say about being prepared for the postseason.
It's about those little things, the details. Every blade of grass matters. Every inch matters. Finish matters.
Said, if you're not prepared to play the next 5 weeks, if you're thinking about anything else, thinking about booking a flight, vacations or anything, don't come in. So he made it very clear about what's at stake and what this team is looking for.
Just to let the young players who haven't been here before, it's really just to understand that we're all in with everything we're doing, the here and the now.
No winning season since high school is crazy, but to be in this locker room, like I said, with all the guys, especially my rookies, they make the game young again and go out there and just have fun with them.
If you don't want to spend the thousands of dollars to get a seat at Soldier Field, you can watch the thing for free at home right here on Fox Chicago. The game starts at 7 o'clock roughly. Our coverage, though, begins with Bears Game Day Live at 12:30. Get a little early scoop on what's going on. Then you're going to want to watch the Rams-Panthers game. Then you're going to watch the Bears-Packers game. And then don't go away. Stay with us on Fox Chicago because after the game, we've got the full post-game disco coverage on your home of the Bears. All right, the Miami Hurricanes, will you take down the Ole Miss Rebels in the Fiesta Bowl? They are now going to the CFP final. Remember, this was a team that wasn't even likely to get into the playoff. Fourth quarter, Miami down by 2. Carson Beck swings it out to Malachi Tony. He's going to go 36 yards for the score. Miami's up 24-19. Oh, but wait. Trinidad Chambliss has something to say. He's going to find Daquan Wright. This is a 24-yard score. And the Rebels, they're up. 24 seconds are left in the game. Carson Beck, he's looking. Is anybody open? Is anybody open? Nobody. They're rushing me. Wait, there's an opening. And I go in for the score. I'm doing my Carson Beck impersonation there. Miami holds on to win 31-27. They will be playing essentially at home against the winner of the Indiana and Oregon game that our own Anthony Ponce is attending tonight. The men's college basketball action. Fighting Illini, they take care of business against Rutgers. Second half, Illini up big. Keaton Wagler hits the tough shot high off the glass, and there's a foul. Also in the second, Kylan Boswell lobs to Zvonimir Ivisic, who throws down the alley-oop. And Illinois wins over Rutgers, 81-55. How about Northwestern taking on Michigan State? Who's that? You remember him, former Northwestern head football coach Pat Fitzgerald. He is now Sparty's coach. Second half, Wildcats down 3. Jaden Reed misses. Sparty's out on the run. Cohen Carr, whoa, slams it through with a windmill. Northwestern was outscored by 17 in the second half and go on to lose by 10, 76-66. An historic night for this guy. Remember Patrick Kane? First, he's going to get goal number 499 in the first period of the game against the Canucks. In the Red Wings, that's who he plays for. But right here, this is history. He puts in the empty netter in the third. That is career goal number 500. Everybody's happy in Detroit. Should have happened here. It's okay. Congratulations to Patrick Kane. He's only the 50th player in NHL history and 5th American-born player to get 500 goals. He scored 446 of them, though, with the Blackhawks. And speaking of his former team, the Blackhawks will be in action. They're at home against the Capitals. That'll be a 7 p.m. puck drop. And number 1, Indiana, taking on the number 5 Oregon Ducks. This is going to be a good one. Peach Bowl action there in Atlanta, and the winner will be taking on Miami in the final. Kickoff is set at 6:30 p.m. All right, weather-wise, the rain has moved out of the area. There's a chance of a light shower here in a couple of hours, but wet weather is not the main story. It is the wind out there right now, and I'll show you some of the gusts in a little bit. Windy, chance of a shower at 9, 42 degrees. Windy but brighter at noon as the sun comes back out, 44 degrees. Still windy at 4 with a temperature 42 degrees. Is it upper 50s and 60? No, but these numbers behind a cold front are still way above normal. 43 at O'Hare with a sustained wind of 28 miles per hour. That's a 10-minute average of how strong the winds are as opposed to the instantaneous gusts, which I'll give you a look at here in a little bit. Current temperatures dropping. 43 at O'Hare and Waukegan, 43 at Morris, 57 though at Gary. Look at Benton Harbor, still in there with 60 degrees. All right, this is really remarkable. A 55-mile-an-hour wind gust this past hour at O'Hare. A little bit less the farther west you go, and I think that is why the Weather Service has not issued a wind advisory, despite the fact that it is really windy out there. Here comes this last little piece of light rain cruising through. It may sprinkle on you for 10 minutes here later this morning. That's it. Skies will be clearing out this afternoon. I think it ends up being mostly sunny with temperatures in the 40s. Ordinarily, it would feel pretty nice out there, but the winds are going to make it feel colder. Then, tomorrow, you know what's coming. We're going to get a little bit of snow in here. Not a big deal, but it will be snowing, maybe enough to coat the ground. Could mix with a little bit of rain during the afternoon. I think the snow, for the most part, is out of here in time for that football game. Back to you.
Here come the lucky ones.
The House passes a bill to extend Obamacare subsidies for the next 3 years. The bill also helps lower health care premiums that just spiked for millions of Americans on January 1st. The bill was forced to a vote after a group of Republicans signed on to what is called a discharge petition. It unlocks debate and bypasses House Speaker Mike Johnson's objections. The bill now heads to the Senate.
The U.S. Supreme Court will start issuing rulings for the new year beginning today. Among the items on the agenda could be tariffs. The justices could reveal their ruling on whether the president has the authority to impose tariffs under an emergency law that was passed nearly 50 years ago. Legal and trade analysts say if the court rules he doesn't have the power, the U.S. may be forced to refund more than $133.5 billion in tariffs to importers.
The White House is moving forward in the process to renovate the East Wing. Officials shared their official plans for the project with the National Capital Planning Commission. They say that the purpose of the construction is to help establish a permanent event space on the White House grounds. An official vote to approve the plans is expected in the spring.
The start of tax season is set to begin on January 26. This is when people can start filing their 2025 taxes. Some tax experts say the filing process could face delays in 2026 after tens of thousands of IRS workers were laid off last year. The average tax return in 2025 was about $3,167. Acting IRS commissioner says it will likely increase this year because of provisions enacted in last summer's tax and spending package.
Well, Bear fans got together to see which one looks exactly like head coach Ben Johnson.
We'll have to have them take off the shirt to really be able to tell. All right, we'll show you the competition after this break.
Fox 32.
Bruno Mars is heading to Chicago for his first tour in almost a decade. He just announced the Romantic Tour in support of his fourth studio album of the same title. Mars will be performing at Soldier Field on May the 16th. He's bringing several other R&B stars to the stage, including Victoria Monet, Leon Thomas, Ray, and Anderson .Paak. Tickets go on sale next Thursday. Well, Bears fans come together to celebrate head coach Ben Johnson by participating in a look-alike contest.
Photojournalist Jacob Karb stopped by to check it out.
Bears, 1, 2, 3.
Such a fun, family-friendly event at the Wintrust Sports Complex in Bedford Park, our Coach Johnson look-alike contest. It's a free event, wonderful prizes, so much excitement surrounding our favorite football team in town. We wanted to do something really community-oriented, fun, family-friendly, and see who can get the most creative with their Coach Johnson lookalike for the good, better, and best prizes. Going to a game, it's really not attainable for most people these days with the prices, especially with the economy. So we wanted to see what we could do to help with that. So the winners, they could put it towards the game and create a memory that'll last a lifetime. And when you think about it, people are still dressing like Coach Ditka all these years later. So I'm thinking, all right, we're still doing that, and now we have Coach Johnson. And once Coach Johnson ripped his shirt off in the locker room in Philly on Black Friday, forget it. It was fantastic. Everyone had so much fun with that, and we were hopeful that the community would react to it. We greenlit the whole promotion 3 to 4 weeks, and here we are today.
If he wins this game tomorrow, he will be a legend forever here in Chicago.
Yeah, he will.
Yes, for sure.
I want to see who won that contest, though. Maybe sometime later this morning. I'm sure that, Bedford Park website, something there's got to be a picture of this dude somewhere
We'll
that
have
we
to
could
get in contact with him and bring him in.
bring him in. Exactly. Congratulations to the winner.
At 10 a.m.
All right, there will likely be a little bit of snow tomorrow night. I do not want to characterize what's taking place tomorrow night as a snowball or anything like that. It's going to be colder than what it is now, that's for sure. Winds have died down a little bit at O'Hare. Just a little while ago, it was 55 miles an hour. Now, only 38. But look at Gary. You've got the strongest wind with a 54 mph there. But I think the strongest winds are kind of happening right now. It's going to stay windy all day long. I think these 45 to 55 mile an hour winds are going to be a thing of the past. Rainfall. O'Hare set a record for yesterday, 1.92 inches of rainfall. It is the third wettest calendar day ever in the month of January, and it was among the areas that got hit with the heaviest rainfall. Aurora, West Chicago, Waukegan, and Valparaiso, much less, but there was a southwest to northeast corridor of heavy rain that went right through the city, and that's why we had the flooding. Now, there could be a little quick light shower, especially north of the city here later this morning. No heavy rainfall. In fact, this afternoon, skies are going to be clearing out. It will stay windy, but with temperatures in the 40s, it's not going to be cold by January 9th standards. But tomorrow, a little taste of winter returns. And this is going to be snow, maybe mixing with a little rain in the afternoon. I don't foresee any kind of major accumulations, enough to whiten the ground in a few spots. And then this thing moves out of here. And I think that for the majority of the Bears game, it's going to be dry. I mean, there could be a passing snow shower at some point, but it is not going to be snowing the whole time, looking like they're playing in Buffalo. Here's what we got today. 60, that was our record-tying high back at midnight. Now we're falling through the 40s. It will stay windy with nothing more than a passing brief shower here in the next couple of hours. 32 tonight, just seasonably chilly, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, you've got a little rain and some snow, high of 38. High of only 32 on Sunday, and then we bounce it back up into the 40s Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday night and Wednesday, another system comes through with rain at first, changing over to some light snow on Wednesday before some colder air at the end of next week. I've got 3 photos I'd like to share with you. This one is sunrise over Winthrop Harbor. Justin Stride giving us a look there in far northeast Illinois. That is a cool shot there. Thank you for getting up bright and early and getting that picture to us, Justin. Photo number 2, early dog duty view. Janice Bobola from Valparaiso, Indiana. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your last name. I'm pretty sure I got your first name right, though. But I am familiar with early dog duty, Janice. So thank you for taking a picture while you were out there with your pup. And how about one final shot? This came to me from my Facebook friend Nancy Tonkin, and that is a glorious sunrise there, or just pre-sunrise at Waukegan Beach. Nancy, always enjoys seeing your photos. That is a spectacular shot right there. Love the colors reflecting there right on the shoreline. You can get a picture to us via the Fox 32 weather app. Please include your name. Tell us what town you took your photos in. 3 minutes before 6 o'clock. We'll be right back with more after this.
Save big money on everything